Hello, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to you. I have to say, it's not so warm here in Greece right now. It's pretty damn chilly. But my heart is warm, and it's welcoming you here. Just want to give this a few moments here to settle in, to maybe share where you are right now, where you're living and how you're feeling. So your place of where you are listening from and how you feel right now. How do you feel when you hear the title of this live stream? The USA Pluto return 2022 to 2024, dark night of the soul. Hello, Denmark. Hello, Louisiana, Quebec, Washington, Southern California, feeling terrific. Holland, Portugal, Texas, UK, Romania, Michigan, Lithuania, Indiana. Beautiful. Are we lucky to be able to come together? Florida, Belgrade, Barcelona. Yeah. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I've been meditating a great deal about this Pluto return coming up for the United States. As astrologers, we've been seeing it coming for years. And there's been some pretty lively discussions as to the possibilities of how this might play out. And it does feel like, in many ways, that humanity as a whole is going through its own dark night of the soul. You may not be going through it personally, although my guess is that over the last 18 months, you will have had some moments of at least knowing somebody close to you who's been going through a dark night of the soul. So can you empathize with that? Would be my first question. Maybe have you been going through it? Are you going through it? As nations, as peoples, as families. I was speaking with somebody very dear to me yesterday, and we were saying that it's like almost every day there's a sinkhole that you need to navigate. Whoops, there's another hole. Uh-oh. Got to dig myself out of that one. So just for you to know, I'm going through it with you. We're in it together. So what does this Pluto return mean? First thing I need to address, because Pluto has to cover power, strength, might. Reminded of the story of David and Goliath. So it's not necessarily the big, beefy, chunky, obvious power, but it's the hidden power, the power of love, the power of kindness. And in that spirit, I want to say to you that every single person is welcome on this channel. There was quite a backlash after my interview with dear Summer Bacon about her feeling of intending not to take the V. And I just want you to know that whether you are vaccinated or unvaccinated, black, white, yellow, purple, whatever you are welcome here. And I don't know about you, but I spent much of my years wandering around as though I were walking on eggshells. I better not say this, I better not do that, because this person or that person or this or that, constantly there was this fear of walking on eggshells. And I want you to feel here that you are not walking on eggshells. That you will not be clamped down for whatever it is you represent, who you are, what's important to you. This channel is a channel of respect, so that everybody maintains their power and can feel safe, right? That's the first thing I want to say to you. Because I can tell you, being brought up in the Jewish religion, that was just what I was born into. I was the only Jew in a school of 300 children at a music school in Manchester, Chatham School of Music. And I was bullied quite a lot by the teachers as well as some of the students. So I know what that feels like, to be ostracized, to be bullied. And Pluto brings out everything that's been suppressed, everything that's been pushed down. And a Pluto return happens every 245 to 250 years. So here we are, United States, effectively the most powerful nation upon our planet, very influential, going through what I would call its dark night of the soul. Now, some of you may disagree with me who are there in the United States, but my guess is that many of you will agree that there are some deep issues that must be addressed and must be faced. So let me tell you what kinds of issues Pluto in Capricorn is all about, because this is where the natal Pluto was for the United States. The key dates in the coming year are the 19th, 20th of February is the first hit. We have again the 11th of July, comes back, and then goes forward again on the 28th of December. So the entire next year has got a lot of hits of corruption must come out. There's going to be some major changes in the legal system. And there may be some pretty horrifying things that need to come out. And it's better out than in, as they say. So things that have been very corrupt are going to be exposed. Or shall I say, likely to be exposed. We're going to see what's going on with the United States with its conflicts with other countries. I think the United States is still at war with quite a few countries. I don't know the number. That's going to be a big issue. You're going to see that be a big issue. Obviously, changes to the banking system, changes to the economic system, changes to the health system, and changes to all the power structures in the United States. All of them are going to come under tremendous scrutiny. There's going to be a big overhaul of big corporations and billionaires. And quite likely the overthrowing of certain leaders. Don't be surprised if this happens. Now, the great thing about having a dark night of the soul, because there's always something good, there's always a silver lining, let's not forget that, is that a great spiritual awakening and transformation can take place. So if you can keep that as the wider perspective, that once the past has been rectified, once the wrongs have been acknowledged, and those might include wrongs that are happening now to do with COVID, promises made, mandates, injuries, deaths, suicides. Pluto rules all of the underworld. So if you can imagine all of the underworld, things that have been rumbling and going on, are coming out for scrutiny. So in many ways, this can have a very bright future. And what we need to do with this Pluto energy is to be ready to blow the whistle on authority figures, on government figures, on people telling lies, on people being corrupt. And that wherever it's embedded into systems, it has to come out. It has to come out. So the future is bright, and it might just be quite turbulent as we go through the transforming of the United States. So, yeah, thank you for that, shining the light on all those dark corners. So let me make it really clear. I need to make this super clear. This is not about scaring you, because Pluto is going to bring up fear. Okay, of all the emotions, fear is going to be triggered more than anything. And you can see that more than anything, COVID has triggered fear. Fear of dying, fear of the hospital, fear of other people, fear of the vaccine, fear of the unvaccinated, fear of the doctors. I mean, it's just endless, the package of fear. So if I am in any way communicating a fear vibration, that's certainly not my intention. I had that feedback about the last live stream, where I've been suggesting for a while that you do your best to plan for a hard, long winter. That's all. Just prepare for it. Get extra blankets, get some extra bags of rice or whatever it is that you eat that's you can store, that's dried or tinned. And just prepare a little, because in that preparation, you're taking your power. So with this channel and with the astrology, my intention is to empower you, to use the Pluto in a way that helps you to be strong and not disempowered from what's going on. Because I love this quote by Gandhi. I believe that no government can exist for a single moment without the cooperation of the people, willing or forced. And if the people suddenly withdraw their cooperation in every detail, the government will be at a standstill. So keep in mind that it is our cooperation with governments that keeps them alive. Lucy, you're doing a terrific job. She's on her own in the moderating today. She's doing a wonderful job, and I'm so grateful for you. So please be kind to her in the chat. Please be kind. I know there's quite a few trolls here, and there's a lot of scammers. There seem to be more scammers and more impersonators. Please know that I do not solicit business. So if you're getting WhatsApp messages or emails in my name, they are not me. Please question them. I won't be coming after you and asking you for money. I won't. It's not what I do. So let's look at it. Let's look at this power situation. It's about looking at fear in the eye, looking at what's the worst that could happen, looking at the fear and not keeping running away from it. Your trials did not come to punish you, but to awaken you. Yogananda. And if you can keep that in mind, that growth comes through friction and challenge. And I know we're all looking for, when is this going to get easier? When is this going? It probably won't get easier, but it's going to bring out the strength inside of you that you didn't know you had. So we've got to call our people to account. We had a climate change conference in Glasgow, and 400 private jets turned up. And yet we're being asked to turn off the lights and live in the cold to save the climate. So there are many mismatches that will need to be looked at. We can't sleepwalk through this anymore because it's happening to too many of us on a personal basis. And if it's maybe not personal, I think it's happening to every single person, actually. But if it's not necessarily personally to you right at this moment, I bet you've got a friend or somebody close to you who is going through it. So not only do we have the Pluto return of the United States, we've also got the Neptune half return. And Neptune, this happens every 165 years, and that happens in 2022 as well for the United States. It's a bit like it's all coming in one big dollop. And you might be feeling like that in your life too. It's like, whoa, this is a lot. So just know that this is a lot that's going on globally that's coming up. 22 is a very key figure, 22 degrees. On the 22nd of February, 2022, Neptune and Pluto will be at 22 degrees. And 22 is a master number. And twos are all about working together and finding ways in which we can work together. Pluto involves pollution, toxicity, drugs, the underworld, and transformation. Neptune rules the seas, rules the water, the oceans, the floods, the mistrust, the disillusion, the dreams. The United States will be looking at its dream. What was its dream? What is our highest dream? What is our highest spiritual goal? And this will be triggered. So the Neptune opposition will trigger the spirituality of the United States, and the Pluto is going to bring up all the stuff in all these big structures. And it's going to be up to us to take our power and to speak out. To quote Martin Luther King here, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. So what are the things that matter to you that you're not speaking up about? Maybe you'd like to share them here. Maybe you'd like to share here so that you're sharing it in a safe space. Begin to get it out, begin to let it out. Be around people who empower you, not people who disempower you and pull you down. I'm going to be having the honor of Lynn McTaggart will be coming on the channel in a conversation in a couple of weeks' time. She's a New York Times bestseller, works with the power of intention. And her mother had breast cancer, and she saw different doctors. And one doctor they saw, he was almost horrified, with how bad it was and the smell of it. And it was like, oh God, and obviously they didn't want to work with that doctor. But they found another doctor who took one look at her mum and said, oh, we can handle this, no problem. And he did, and she lived for many years after that. So work with the people who are empowering. Empowering. This is great. Thank you. Many of you are sharing some of the things that you haven't spoken about. So speak here. Another wonderful Yogananda quote: the season of failure is the best time for sowing the seeds of success. So don't let failure dishearten you. You're just planting some new seeds. So the last time that Neptune was in this position that's going to be in next year for the United States was in the late 50s, the 1850s, as a prelude to the Civil War, which began in 1861, which was when Neptune went into Aries. And Neptune goes into Aries in 2024, 2025. So war and opposing factions may be issues that need to be dealt with. And which route are we going to take? Are we going to go the fearful route and the fighting route, or are we going to peacefully? I mean, look what Gandhi accomplished peacefully. That little thin man, and what he accomplished. Ah, 20 years sober. Wow. Fantastic. Ava. Wow. So encourage one another. Yeah, encourage. So we're looking at power. And some of you may know this. And by the way, please like the video, empower YouTube to send more of our tribe to empower us. So thank you for liking. Lucy is encouraging you to do that. And she's doing a great job. Thank you. So Atlantis, at the time of Atlantis, for those of you who know this, many of us here in this lifetime are redoing the lifetime that we had in Atlantis. Thank you, Hannah. And in Atlantis, apparently, there was a tremendous misuse of technology and of power. So we have to be really conscious of how are we using the technology. I'm sure many of you are aware that Facebook is now rebranding itself to Meta, the metaverse. And when I think about Uranus and Saturn, the square that we have coming up on the 24th of December and all of next year, that square is still resonating. We have Uranus in Taurus. So Taurus is the physical earth, our physical resources. And Uranus is the digital world. And what Facebook want to do in the metaverse, from what I've understood, is to merge the physical with the digital. So whilst the billionaires and trillionaires are buying up all the assets, and the quote that so many people have bandied around is the Charles, God, I've forgotten his name. Charles Schultz, is it? I really forgot, I'm just having a brain thing. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, if you will look at what they're planning for in the digital virtual reality with virtual currencies and virtual real estate that you will buy and sell online, but never actually physically own, we have to look at, is that the world we want to create for our children? Where the physical world becomes further and further away, our disconnect with it, and we become more digitalized. And where does our humanity come? And where do the natural resources of our planet go, and what is done with them? And the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, starting with the eclipse on the 19th of this month, are going to trigger the conversation all about debt, the irresponsible money printing, the erosion of people's wealth and hard-earned money in favor of the very few elite. Something is wrong somewhere. I've been shouting about this since 2008, since Pluto went into Capricorn, about the corruption and the lies and the bailouts for the banks and the big people getting off scot-free and everybody else not benefiting. So are we going to be the whistleblowers, or are we going to continue just to sit meekly by like lambs? I am just opening things up here. I'm not siding. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm wanting just to bring things to your attention. Okay, that's what this is about. The more of the heads up, I feel so privileged to be an astrologer because we're given some of the heads up of the kinds of things that we're going to be dealing with. Do we know what they're going to be exactly? No, but we know. Absolutely. Everything's coming out. And so we are in this cusp now at the end of Pluto in Capricorn. We're in the end stage of dealing with Pluto, corruption. Thank you very much, Geraldine. I appreciate that. We're dealing with deep corruption. We're dealing with structures, authority figures, and the breakdown of anything that is dishonest. But we're dealing with power, big power and big money. And we are moving gradually because on the 23rd of March, 2023, not far off, Pluto will pop itself into Aquarius. Okay, it goes there and back for a little while. It goes fully into Aquarius in 2024, but nonetheless, it's on the cusp of going into Aquarius. And the last time it was there was in 1778 to 1798, which was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and also the Age of Enlightenment. In 1792, when Pluto went into Aquarius, this was the time that the United States dollar became the nation's standard unit of currency. So there's a good chance that we'll see the separation of state and currency. And somehow some kind of an acceleration of what on earth we do with the cryptos and how we create value through these massive changes. So it's big, it's big. That's why that's why I've been meditating on this for such a long time, to be able to somehow give you all the pieces of the pie and then break that down over the next weeks with you into the smaller pieces as each incremental step approaches. And then just to give you a little bit more, in 2024, Uranus, this is a planet of technology, is going to be trine to Pluto for the rest of the decade, for all the rest of the 2020s. So that is going to accelerate digitalization, technology, cryptocurrencies, all of that. And then Uranus in 2025 will go into Gemini. And that's when everything speeds up. If you think the technology we've got now is fast, we will be laughing in a shorter time as around about 2 to 3 years. So this is all when things are going to get built up again. But right now we're going through the breakdown. So it's important that you know that breakdowns are what are coming. So do your best to be supportive, to be encouraging, to be kind to people with opposing views to you. I've had friends, disown me at this time. And whilst I feel sad about that, I can't change what is true for me and what works for me. So what works for you? And what do you need to stand up for? So in the Bible, apparently, and I don't know this for sure because I haven't counted, but apparently there are at least 365 times where it is said, do not fear. Fear not. And I think as this is such a deeply spiritual time and we're looking for more meaning in our lives, there has to be more to the shops opening. What's happened in Auckland now, Auckland's been in lockdown for almost 3 months and they've just had the restrictions reduced. And people queued up that entire night to be able to go to the shops. I mean, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just interesting, isn't it? Where's our focus and what is it that we keep acquiring and what for? And is there something internal that we can connect with God, with spirit, with the Pleiadians, with whatever is meaningful for you, where you individually, and not as a herd, not as a crowd, but individually take your power? Because often as in a group, we do become a bit like a herd sometimes. We influence one another. And as we're moving into this Aquarian energy and Aquarian age, this is the age of the individual coming alive and speaking your truth. And speaking what's important to you. I've got a wonderful Aquarian friend. I love him to bits. But, you know, and he will just call a spade, and he doesn't put it with very much diplomacy. And so everybody in the room can say, yeah, don't mind doing that. And he'll just stand up and he'll say, no, I won't do that. Thank you. And sometimes I want to cringe, you know, and I think, God, and yet that is the spirit of the Aquarian energy. That's not right for me. And that's okay with me. Even if all the other sheep want to go there, I'll go somewhere else. Ava, shopping is an escape mechanism to cope. Thank you very much. I couldn't put that better. So we're going to be looking for truth. What is true? What is false? Dig deep inside yourself. Where are you deluding yourself? And where do you need to tell the truth to yourself? So Yogananda says that fear comes from the heart. So if you can be aware if you're frightened, to breathe and to breathe continuously, very continuously. Yeah, without the sort of, because usually you breathe in and as you breathe out and then it stops a little. No, just breathe in and out. And what you can do is rub your heart from left to right. It's very soothing, just from left to right. And sometimes as well, what I find very helpful is just to rub in this area of the body here, on the sternum and over the collarbone here, okay? And if you just rub this area, maybe for 30 seconds, you can do it with me. Somebody just tuning in now will really think this is a crazy channel, but I don't care. Doesn't matter. This is so soothing. And just do it quite gently. It's quite gently. You just rub along this area. It's so soothing. Just do that for 30 seconds. Thank you, Alison. That's it. There we go. Starts to space me out when I do that, but it's really soothing and really calming. And it's something you can do anywhere. Well, not driving, but most places. It's very, very soothing. And it will reduce the fear. If you find yourself going into that fear thing, so don't put yourself around fearful people if you can help it, and don't read lots of fearful things or things that make you fearful, so that you can begin to diffuse that fearful energy that's sort of vibrating around quite generally. So good to be with you. It really is. I'm so grateful. So many of you contributed some lovely things in the chat. Lucy's been terrific. Thank you for liking the video. And I'm just going to finish with this quote here, because a lot of people are being ridiculed at the moment for one reason or another. And as Arthur Schopenhauer said, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. So even if you might find yourself violently opposed at the moment, it may be that you're seeing something that other people can't just see just yet. I love you all so very much. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for your openness. And just know that as dark as this time may be, and whatever America needs to go through and whatever America goes through will reverberate into the rest of the world, that we are having one of the biggest spiritual awakenings through this pain that can be utterly transformational. So thank you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you, Lucy. Much, much love. Bye for now.